Hello everyone, my name is Narjis. I am going to present a recent project of mine that I did. I was in Turkey for the last 2 years, and this is a project that I developed over there. And it's all about elevators. Elevators are themselves, we cannot resist the seductions of elevators these days, especially in an urban setting. These are the stepping stones to heavens. They make relentless artificiality so alluring. There's a lot about elevators and lifts that I tend to display through my project. I've been in and out of elevators for the past 4 years because a lot of my projects have been happening inside elevators. Did you forget your camera? That's a question that a lot of people have asked when I'm working inside elevators. For this project specifically, I would leave my camera inside this building and see how people would engage with it. So, and to start off this entire project, it's always, for me, it's a slightly a research-based project. So I was thinking about elevators in real life and then in fiction. So there's a lot of things that happen in real life. In real life, it's human machine, it's a human engineering, it's a machine. In fact, it's fiction. And you see a lot of elevator scenes in films and movies. The creative madman said, it's a public space where a lot of private things can happen. And there's a lot of potential there because especially when you make a film, inside the elevator, the scene is compressed. The scene is composed so beautifully that you can depict a lot of different scenes. So I was going through a lot of films when I was making this project. There's this awkward look. There's the hangover effect inside an elevator. There is violence inside an elevator. There is the high drama through light and everything. So what I was wanting to express through my project was I was looking at the geometry of the space. I was looking at the democracy of space. I was looking at the amplification of time, because 2 seconds inside an elevator are more than 2 seconds on a busy street. I was looking at the ethics of encounter. And then there's this whole theory about the elevator effect. When a person is inside an elevator, which is an inescapable machine, when you're inside the elevator, you tend to ignore a gaze, you tend to not make an eye contact, you tend to have minimum conversation because you can't escape that space. That happens to students in classrooms as well, because you can't escape that space. That's why you don't try to make contact with your teachers. But then what happens every time the doors open? You know, every time the doors open, it's a new floor, it's a new story, it's a surprise element. So that's something that's always, interested me. What happens every time a door opens? For this project, I was in and out of the elevator. This was an academic building. I was there, I was studying. So I would sometimes leave the camera there, and then people would come and question about it. Is it recording us right now? Why is it here? They would make that conversation because of another foreign element there, the camera. And then there's this whole idea about fear versus vanity. Otis elevators, when they invented the elevator was very slow. So people used to get very frightened inside this machine. So one of these workers said, the best way to pacify the fear is to introduce vanity. So as soon as you place the mirrors there, you forget the fact that you're inside a machine. You're suspended in air. This girl, she came in and she said, oh, the camera's filming. And then she said, oh my God, I've told my entire life story to the camera. Because she was talking about a lot of things, and then she paused and she's like, oh my God, I said a lot of things here. And as soon as she left smiling. But there were different reactions. There were people who were like, no, I don't want to be filmed. But then the surprising element for me as an artist was the camera was there. The camera had the screen open. You were allowed to turn off the camera, confiscate the camera, take it out, make a complaint, do anything. But then when I showed this project to the Turkish audience there, this sort of spoke about themselves as well. So an elevator sort of tells you the story of that society. For instance, these 2 kids, they were there and they were just talking about life. They knew the camera was there, but they said to each other, what happened to you? And then he said, life. It's a very Turkish way of saying when you're depressed, you talk about life. Another person, he was one of the academics, and he's like, good God, it is recording. Don't say anything wrong. Because, there's a sense of, authority of the camera as well. So they were like, it is surveillance right now. It is recording us. So we should be very cautious and we shouldn't say anything wrong. But then there were aggressive people. He was like, what is this? It's a new security system? What's happening? You know, why are they doing this? People were complaining, but there wasn't anyone there who had the, you know, the audacity to come up to the camera, turn it off, take it outside, or do something, which is reflecting a lot about that society, that they are complaining, but they're not doing anything about it. And then people were making these comments, and it's true. She said, and people are talking about their private issues in the elevator. And people are. But what do you do about it? Do you not talk about it? Do you talk about it? And what sort of a reaction can you have to such incidences? That is something that they're... And then there were people who were flirting with the camera, you know? He said, beautiful girls, add me, you know? So there were these, you know, perks to the camera as well. They were exploring the camera. They were looking at, you know, how do I look in the camera? Is it recording me? How does my face look? And then what is she going to do with this? This is a worker. And it's the elevator space, it's a very egalitarian sort of space. Anyone can write this. So she was like, she asked the student, can I enter or not? And then she was like, I think I shouldn't enter because it's recording. And he said, I don't even know why it's recording or whose is it, because, you know, I am surprised just as much as you are. And at the end, when it comes to text, I wrote a lot about it, and I will narrate this: a sight of strange encounters, unusual coincidences, near escapes, dangerous accidents, or a sudden malice. It is an entrance and an exit. It is a place for resolution and a place of conflict, a box of paradox at the intersection of time and space. And I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much.